The human mind, when cultivated without constraint, produces extraordinary achievements: art, governance, science, architecture. Yet history often records triumph selectively to disregard black excellence, emphasizing white accomplishments while minimizing.
If Kennedy continues, we will lose everything. If they wake up to who they truly are, we will lose everything and Rome will fall. We all took the Freemasonic oath to defend Rome. We have to act now. Make the order.
Mr. President, why preserve such a collection here?
These public statements about true black history and identity provoke strong reactions, particularly from groups concerned about political stability and want me eliminated.
They're starting to question the narrative. We must do something to stop it.
We cannot allow them to learn indigenous history. We must keep pushing the out of Africa theory, sir. We must push more slave movies, more out of Africa movies, so they never know.
These works depict figures from early civilizations whose contributions have been insufficiently acknowledged. Well, I must say, I'm in very good company. I don't know what I'd do without beautiful black women around. They keep the day interesting. They're stealing the spotlight from me. Well, I must say, black women are by far among the most beautiful women on the planet. A man would have to be blind not to notice.
Now, hold on, Mr. President. Don't steal them all. Save some for the rest of us.
I'll do my best.
Discovery, which has not yet been published, it relates directly to the black communities across America. This is a drawing from life that was made, believe it or not, by a so-called American Indian. They were a black people who built fantastic boats. They were like Viking boats. And there are still native blacks in Mexico. That's never been explained by archaeologists before Columbus arrived. DNA tests done on them. DNA tests done on the bones of some of the Olmec people, not all of them, the ancient remains, show a definite genetic trace, not to Africa only, but across the Pacific. There's this definite trace, lineage they can trace out towards Hawaii and beyond Hawaii. Then they began a worldwide match of DNA. Well, do these strange black people, who do they match up with? They don't match up with Africans. The contribution of blacks, not only to America, but to the world, is profound. Imagine if I could take from each one of you as an individual everything you knew about life up to last week and just erase it. Where would you be? You'd be lost. You'd be incompetent. You wouldn't know how to plan for the future. And you do the same thing with a people. If you erase their history or you don't tell enough about their past, they also become incompetent and they can't fulfill the future.
Before this nation was named, indigenous black peoples lived, built, and governed here. The great world's fairs were remnants of their cities. Across this nation once stood many centers of black commerce, not one Wall Street, but many. These communities were connected by trade, by innovation, by grand world fairs. They represented an older world still alive, and that continuity frightened those who sought control. So those centers were dismantled, their prosperity erased by the very forces that later claimed to civilize this nation. The word American describes the people of the copper-colored race. Its original heirs, the original nobility of this country, are the so-called black Americans. They are heirs to histories older than myth.
Recorded inside restricted Vatican corridors.
These were never meant for public viewing.
Icons predating modern classification.
Certain agencies insist this iconography remain concealed. In opposing that position, I have been warned that I may be framed as acting against this. The iconography we are examining reflects an older European reality, one shaped by Moorish presence and early state power. These images are not symbolic outliers. They were preserved, long predating modern classification. They reflect continuity, cultural and historical. Hidden from the public.
Historical material is often misclassified by time and power.
The iconography we've examined speaks not only to Europe, but to continuity. That continuity lives on in America today, most visibly through black America. There are elements operating beyond lawful authority within our own government. Their actions place my safety and the integrity of this office at risk. We speak to something older than modern borders. We see the same iconography in old America, because history does not begin where records This Black Madonna is kept in Washington, preserved, and not widely shown. Symbols endure where records fade. Their meaning carries forward. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place? Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the Scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place? Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression. And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
I'm sure you've seen the video, and these are clips that are in the internet space. And a lot of people are contemplating and saying, is this literally AI or these are real pictures? And from that video, you could see the late J.F. Kennedy, the President of the United States of America, giving his speech and validating the fact that there were native black Americans in Americans before Victor Columbus and the lies came to the Americans. And so that it was not a case of slavery, but it was a case of indigenous black people who were already present in the land. And so one of the ways that you can shape the narrative, the perspective, the thinking of the people is to affect their history. And when you can do that is by editing what you want them to see, what you want them to hear, and what you want them to believe. And in so doing, you shape the narrative to your favor. And this has been what has happened over the course of the history of the United States of America, where the narrative has not been really explained the way it was meant to be explained, on how it has happened and what transpired concerning the native people. And it's not just in the US. You could see it across the American space. Indigenous black populations occupy the native land. And these are also the kind of stories that the pre-colonial masters told in Africa, and holding back informations that will liberate the mindsets of the people to identify who they are and whose they are. And so if you're coming across my YouTube channel, this is a platform you need to subscribe to. So I want to know what your thoughts, your opinions are in the comment section. I think it is high time that people begin to rise up and begin to identify who they are.